Hi, I'm Nicole Kalenda, speech language pathologist, professor, and founder of Creating Voice for Possibility. And I'm here today to talk about why, as parents, reducing your utterance length or your sentence length will ultimately encourage your child to talk more. I know that seems like a bit of a misnomer. But what I've been seeing, especially during the pandemic, which we are still in the middle of right now, I'm recording this end of July 2020, the speech therapy that children have been getting over the past couple of months has relied heavily on parental input, if not all on the parents. So one of the things I've been finding that I've been coaching my clients with a lot and the parents through is the best way to encourage your child to talk more is actually for you to talk less. So one of the things I tell my parents to do is remember that ultimately you are the model for their language production. So if you want them to repeat after you, they will only be able to repeat in the sentence length that they are capable of producing. For instance, if your child can only produce 2 to 3 word sentences such as, I want a cookie, or it's my turn, that is all they're going to be able to say. So when you say something like, honey, why don't you go up to daddy and give him a big hug and tell him how much you love him and that you just had a wonderful time playing that game with him, your child is going to go blank and they're not going to be able to say anything. Or, can you say, Mommy, can you get the cookie, please? Again, they're not going to be able to say anything because they're going to be stalled at what you're asking them to do. It's too hard for them. Instead, you could say, what you want to do is you want to decrease your utterance length so that they're going to be able to say something back. So maybe you could say, honey, can you tell mommy get cookie please? Or I want cookie. And then wait. And then this way what you're doing is you're modeling the utterance length that they are capable of doing. I see this a lot. The other thing that you can think about is when you stop talking, it gives your child time to initiate on their own, which is what we are looking for them to learn how to do. The other thing, if you stop talking for them, it gives them the opportunity to generate the language spontaneously. So sometimes we tend to fill in the gaps or not give them enough response time or even process time. So we ask the question and then we almost don't even give them enough time to answer. We start answering for them. Sometimes, and what I found myself recommending to some of the parents I work with, is to ask the question and in your head count to 5. So you ask the question, do you want to go to the pool today? And then wait, right? And then let them respond. Or maybe you want to ask the question differently. But we want to be able to give them enough process time to be able to then generate a response. So ultimately, this is us talking less, or actually not talking at all in an effort to encourage our child to actually talk more. And the thing is, with toning down our utterance length, sometimes the parents get upset about this. It's not that your child doesn't understand what you're saying. It's certainly not that your child, sometimes kids with speech development challenges, they are having a hard time getting those longer utterances out, but they are still thinking in sentences of that length. So we're not at all dumbing down. We're meeting them at that level, at the level where they are. And we're providing them with examples for how they could say what they want to say clearly. Because if their sentence is not clear, even if mom and dad understand it, if nobody else understands it, what's the point anyway? We want them to have clarity in their output so that others can understand them. And if at the time, if where they are now, which I do want to say it's where they are now, they will, that utterance length will increase, and it will increase quickly. But if where they are now is a 3-word utterance, we don't want to really have the expectation that they're going to say longer than a 3 or 4-word utterance. And I promise you, they will. Eventually, it will get there. I promise you, they will start speaking more, and they will feel more confident with themselves. It just takes time. So, a couple of quick tips from today. Speak less. This way you can give your child the opportunity to initiate more. Give some process time after you ask a question so that you give your child the opportunity to process the question, and then ultimately organize their speech and language for the appropriate output that they're looking for. They might need time for that. And lastly, reduce your own utterance length when you are expecting them to repeat after you to a sentence length that is possible for them. And for some of you out there, that might just be 2-word utterances, ball in. Instead of, honey, can you tell mommy to put the ball in the basket? Really, honey, can you say put in or ball in? And ultimately what you will do is you will keep scaffolding that language to be at where they are one step ahead, and modeling for them what that output could be. But you want to meet them where they're at, and then they will attempt to imitate. If it's too hard, they will shut down and they won't even try. I hope this has been helpful. Please continue to reach out to me, Nicole at voiceforpossibility.com, or on my Facebook business page. You could find me, Nicole Kalenda, SLP, or voiceforpossibility.com. I love to hear from you. I love your comments, and I always try to address your questions. Thank you again. Take care.